Well, we're excited to have you on the show today. We're excited to have you, kind of chat about your experience with our guests.
Yeah.
Frank, where do you want to kick things off?
Well, we could open up to how did you get involved in the stuff you do?
Well,
Great.
it was something that I never planned on.
Yeah.
I was a former corporate attorney. I
Okay.
practiced law for 10 years, stepped away when I had my kids for a variety of reasons. In part because I was burned out, and in part because it was like, you know what, this is the time to chase my passion.
Mhm.
So that's when I kind of went into the wellness industry, which was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
I did that for about 10, 15 years. Then I learned that my husband of 23 years had been cheating on me for 15 years.
15?
Wow.
15 years.
Okay, so it was just kind of staggered affairs throughout. It wasn't like a 15-year
One was
affair.
a long term, one was a 15-year affair,
Oh,
and
wow.
then the others just rotated different women in the whole time.
Oh my
Wow.
God. Okay.
Yeah, so that's when pivoted. Obviously, took quite a bit of time off to recover, to learn, but that it was that experience, like people don't understand betrayal. There's such a narrative around betrayal, what it is and what it really isn't. And that's when I really pivoted into doing what I'm doing
Okay.
because I saw there was such a gap in resources, in knowledge, in information. There was such a stigma to overcome. And that's when I really moved into all of this.
All right.
So that was the dark night of the soul moment.
Oh, huge dark night of the soul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way more destabilizing than I could have even imagined.
Yeah.
But somehow you turn that lead into gold, and that's why we're here
That's
talking about
exactly it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, explain that transition from obviously going to Dark Night of Soul, where, like it's like punched in the face, to how did you recover from that punch, and then how did you get to a point where you can't punch me ever again?
Yeah, exactly. I wish I could say like it was just so easy and this is what I did.
Yeah.
It wasn't that easy and it wasn't that fast.
Yeah.
I had to, and that this is part of it too, but I had to go into grief. I had to go into that complete breakdown. I had to lay on the floor and cry and not eat and not sleep.
Yeah.
You really have to do that. And I think that's one of the keys kind of in the whole personal growth thing is acknowledging where you're at and giving yourself the time and the permission to be in that complete state of utter breakdown.
Yeah.
Well,
Because, yeah, for a while, I didn't think I was going to get over this.
mhm.
I thought it was going to permanently change me. I thought it was going to ruin my life.
Yeah.
And I allowed myself to be in that grief.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I kind of had the realization that if I allow this to change me, if I stay in the victim state, because I was victimized, I was hurt, but I don't have to play that role forever. And if I do, then they've all won.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I am the only one keeping myself here. And I don't want them to win. Like that fighter part of me, I don't want them to win. But also, nobody was keeping me here except myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was that awareness that really set me free and was the turning point into, okay, what does that mean? How do I alchemize this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What else is possible for me? And then without blaming myself, and this is huge, what could this experience mirror for me?
Yeah.
What could it show me so I could grow, not take blame, but what was my part in this whole experience on a macro, on a soul level,
Mhm.
and getting into that and getting curious. And it was that whole perspective shift. If this was a benefit, what could that benefit be?
Mhm.
And for a long time, it was like nothing,
Yeah.
nothing.
That ego mind,
Yeah.
absolutely, that identity. So, first off, Laura, this is so awesome. You are the perfect guest to be on Perspective Shift. Just highlighting some of the things and concepts you just briefly touched on, awareness,
Yeah.
the roles that we play, yeah, the soul level. These are the ins and outs of everything Frank and I talk about on this show.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's beautiful to have you on here. In the reflection, like how powerful it was for you to say, "What can I see? What is this showing me about myself?" That is it. And it's
Yeah.
so cool hearing you share this because it's difficult to have that level of awareness when you are trenching through the mud.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's really difficult to have that level of awareness. And for me, it was challenging to figure out where where do I allow myself to grieve and fall apart and how much is necessary so I don't sugarcoat it and spiritually bypass it. But then how do I also not stay locked in this?
Mhm.
And, just kind of those ups and downs along the way.
Where was your aha moment? Like, what was it when because most of us, we're stuck in that character. We're feeling that role that we've been playing, the character, the victimized, individual, the ego self. What, what allowed it to click for you where you were able to take that step back and step into the awareness?
Yeah, it was a
Were you
few
already
different.
pretty awake?
I was definitely awake,
Okay.
um, which helped. But I had a conversation that I remember as being very pivotal with a friend. And my brand before that was all around like sparkle and joy and wellness and happiness.
Mhm.
And I remember saying, I'm so mad because it's even destroyed my brand. How can I show up and purport to help people with burnout and to be like, find your sparkle? It's so happy when all of this stuff has happened to me. And he was really clear and he's like, whoa, this makes you more powerful because isn't it easy for all of us to be fit and happy and healthy and well when nothing is going on? And you just have been devastated. So he's like, your brand is actually more strong now. You're actually more valid now because you're not just like, I'm naturally happy. You've been through it and you found your way back out.
Yeah.
That's a great friend.
I can't remember the woman's name, but you might know who she is. She actually used to do marriage counseling, and she was getting on like a TED Talks type of stage. And right when she was getting on there, her husband asked for a divorce.
Oh God.
And she had to go on stage. Like she had no choice. She's going on stage and she's realizing she's doing this spiel in front of all these people that how to hold a great marriage. And she broke down on stage and that strengthened her world because
Whoa.
she went through the beginning grieving process in front of I don't know how many people
Thousands
were
and
there.
yeah.
Um, and she came out and at first she thought like, who am I to tell you how to have a great relationship? And my husband just asked for a divorce. But
Yeah.
she knew as a professional, she couldn't just say cancel the show.
Hmm.
And there was probably the most profound thing that happened to the audience because one of the things when I would read books years ago or look at people, they never told you the struggles they went through. They told you, here I am. You can get here. Ah, just read my
Yeah.
book and stuff. And all of a sudden, it's like when we started hearing these stories of people, I'm like, oh, I can relate to that. So therefore, there's hope for me. I can get that. How do I find that? Well, it's learning to turn that dark into light because the greatest
Yeah.
light is actually in the dark. It stands out
Yes.
more. You can't see a candle in open field at daylight, but nighttime, that sucker stands out. And it's something brilliant because we're all knowing because this the essence of who we are is that light. And it's not till the dark comes in till the light stands out. And we reunite ourselves with that. And that's the brilliant thing. So your story reminded me of that woman. I can't remember her name,
Gosh.
but I watched it. I watched a recording part of it, but it was like this woman unfolding where she's coming out telling people how to create a great marriage, you know?
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
that's a great
But
example.
I was just I couldn't stop watching it. It was amazing.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to have to find that. And I really appreciate that candle example too, because for me, similarly, it was the shift from performing to being.
Yeah.
Because as a lawyer, I was naturally competitive. I needed things to be perfect. I'm going to keep my body in shape. I'm going to keep my house in shape. I'm going to make everything great. I'm going to do all the right things. I'm going to get the A. And then all of a sudden it was like, there's no getting an A here. How can I move into a sense of being instead of performing that I have it all under control and performing that my life is great? And still be okay with that. And you had mentioned earlier, like that's the real gold. Things can fall apart around me and I'm okay. If my husband cheats again, that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but
I know.
I,
You're
you
not,
know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I can manage it. It's,
you won't be on the floor
Mhm.
at the,
huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still married?
Believe it or not, we ended up getting back together.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
How long did it take?
Um, a long time. It's been 8 years. We separated initially right off the bat, and things were going to go bad fast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was very defensive. He was very, this is your fault.
Yeah.
I have no part of it. All of a sudden, he had his own come to Jesus moment.
Gotcha.
Okay.
He was a
Wait, is
former
that?
foster he's a former foster kid. He's been abused, neglected, severe trauma, emotional and physical. And the way he lived his life was that's in the past, it's not going to impact me. I don't need to get help, it's not going to impact me. Well, all of this cheating behavior, it was very extreme, was a part of it. It was unaddressed trauma. And it was that trauma trying to get out. And it was this covert acting out because he had never addressed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, this allowed him, his gift was, okay, I'm going to address the fact that I have severe trauma. I'm actually going to get help. I'm going to work with my own PTSD. I'm going to do my own therapy. So he did all of his work. I did all of my work. And then we ended up coming back together.
Wow. And the
That's
cool thing is
beautiful.
you said you have children, right?
We do. We've got 2 adult sons.
So you have two adult sons that are watching two nations fight and put themselves back together and actually be friends.
Mhm.
Because that's the thing is a lot of times the nations don't come back together. And
No.
something more powerful than we could actually anticipate because you're actually passing this on to your sons.
Right.
You didn't just say, "Hey, get the hell out of here." You realize this man was flawed, like we all are, but yet
Yes.
but you remarried or got back together with a completely different man.
Correct.
Yeah, it was a completely
Yes.
different nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're right. It is a completely different man. It's a completely different relationship. And had he not chosen this path, that's okay too, because they would see me choosing myself and my growth. And at the same time, it's like, okay, this is how it unfolded. And there's forgiveness here, there's acceptance here, but it's not a pandering. It's you deserve this, I deserve this, and we're different people.
gotcha. So when you guys are at like a cocktail party and people ask, "So what do you do?" Does he have to get up and go to the bathroom? It's like I'm going to leave this part out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
screwed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about something else?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it can be awkward, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. If you look at stats, statistically speaking, around 70% of relationships have some sort of infidelity.
Yeah.
Now, that's relationships, not just marriages. And infidelity can be cheating online, it can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So it's not something that, oh my gosh, I've never heard of that. That's never touched me in my life. It's just that we have such a stigma around it. And I am definitely committed to breaking that stigma and having these conversations that we normally don't have. And even though my husband has a higher level of discomfort around it because he was the perpetrator,
Yeah.
he is also committed to, you know what, let's have these conversations. I'm not the only man who has ever screwed up. I'm not the only human who has ever thought cheating might be a great coping mechanism, only to find out, oh, hey, it's not.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, was it Bill Wilson, who was an alcoholic, started the program, but if he wasn't, he wouldn't have been able to start the program. So it's a great uh, tribute to going in there from your husband's standpoint to actually show, hey, because this doesn't work. It
Right.
doesn't work. It doesn't. It absolutely will not. Like you can run for a little bit, but eventually you get tired. If you're a long distance runner, okay, you'll get a little bit further, but eventually it comes crashing down you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. There's no way out other than the
Right.
truth. Yeah.
Right. And just the layer of illusions that he built up in his own mind
Yeah.
all of these years with all of these women, with all of these stories. there are layers of illusions. And he built a house of cards that was really tall, and that fall was really hard.
Yeah.
And like that, he doesn't want to do the work. He's like, I don't want to quit my job and all of a sudden start working with, men doing this. But he's like, I also want to have the message out there.
Yeah.
You don't have to commit suicide,
No.
because that is something that people who cheat sometimes do. There are other options. You don't have to leave your family. You don't have to be completely excluded. You can heal and you can make amends and you can be accountable. And this is how to stand in it.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants to show is this is how you stand in it. It's
Yeah.
not fun, but you can do it.
Just like
Powerful.
actors, some actors that are winning the Academy Award. If you go, like, I remember watching. You ever watch Dazed and Confused?
Yeah, yeah.
It was one of Matthew McConaughey's first movies, and I was watching that. I'm like, that was a tough movie to watch because it wasn't good. But now he's one of the best actors on the planet,
Right.
and it's because he's no longer that character that played in Dazed and Confused. And that's you start to look at your husband's a completely different character. Even though
Yeah.
someone became like, hey, remember that movie back in the day? Say, yeah, I was just starting out.
Yep.
Didn't have any acting lessons back then. I knew
Yeah.
very well. But everyone has that first role, if you will, that play that I'm like, man, I gotta do better if I want to stay in this business,
Right.
It's really what we're here. Like, how can I peel back and get to this refined actor on this planet and integrative and everything else? And I love that you're actually doing this as a business because if we said 75%,
70%.
yeah, 70%, and
Yeah.
you're going to have a big client base there, because
Right.
people don't want to be cheating. They just feel there's something lacking and they're chasing this thing and it's never ending.
Right. I
Yeah.
like to say, as humans, we have a lot of coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Some of them are healthy, some of them are not healthy. Drinking,
Yeah.
smoking pot, doing drugs, cheating, shopping, gambling. Like there's all these things that we do, even scrolling to chase dopamine.
Yeah.
We can also be working out. We can also be volunteering. There's things that we do all day, every day. Everybody does things to try to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
But it's that awareness. Is this helping or is this hurting?
Yeah.
So, was your husband like awake? Was he on a spiritual path at all in any sense prior to this? So this was his like big groundbreaking moment where he went, "Holy shit!" And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think at some deeper level, he knew who he was. He just
well, we all have that
had all these things
inkling,
piled up
yeah.
to where he couldn't notice it for years. It's like I think we all come in that way, but
Yes.
somehow we have all these. Obviously, the stories that you briefly told us about, like how he grew up from the average person. It's pretty tragic, but
Yeah.
and he buried himself under that,
Mm-hmm.
along
Mm-hmm.
with the other. Yeah,
Yeah. And I appreciate what you said about that awareness too, because he was asleep,
Mhm.
yeah,
but he also did have this awareness that there's something more. There's something more.
We
And
all
then
have
he
that.
said, totally.
Yep.
And then when he was engaging in this behavior, like he knew what was wrong. And he said he would kind of tell himself, like, well, I'm just hurting myself. I'm not really hurting Laura because she doesn't know, but I'm hurting myself. But then he would go into the shame spiral that he was allowing himself to be this person.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And then moving into that forgiveness, how can I elevate? How can I awaken and sit with this horrific thing that I've done?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great. And I like how you mentioned earlier about um, supplementing these things for like going to the gym and stuff like that. Because I've never ever felt guilty for not watching TV at night. Never felt guilty for
Yes.
not eating something or scrolling. I've never felt guilty. But when I actually do the things that contribute to the world and aid other people and assist other people, I've never felt guilty about that either. I actually wake up feeling the opposite of guilt, feeling joyous. My God, I did this today. So it takes you from a neutral standpoint and puts you to the upper chambers, as you will, rather than wake up in the morning like, man, I shouldn't have watched that TV. Okay, I have to hit it heavier at the gym today. Now you're actually ruining your workout. Like
Hmm.
you're interfering with like your workout's got to deal with because I watched too much TV last night. And there's something psychologically burdened about that. And it adds up. It just puts weight on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what a lot of us are going through too,
Yeah.
is we're just trying to make ourselves feel good, like you said. And we're trying to find any way to distract ourselves, take our attention off of, the problems, the situations in life, all the above. And it's through going within that we're going to experience it without. And I loved you talking about the reflection. Can you dive more into the reflection? Because a lot of people, especially when they go something through as traumatic or devastating, such as the betrayal you're referencing, they feel justified. Like a big thing Frank and I talk about.
Yeah.
There's like a justified. There's no such thing as a justified grievance. There's things that media will tell us are okay. Our friends and
Hmm.
family will tell us it's okay, but that's just a justified grievance. And so to
Right.
hear it from somebody who has gone through something that any normal person would say, "Oh my God, of course you feel that way," and pick yourself up from the bootstraps and do what you did, that's extremely powerful. But on a deeper level, to be able to recognize it as a reflection of what did I do? What is this showing me about myself? That's like the next level that Frank and I like to get in on, talk
Exactly.
about on this show.
Yeah, because it's so easy to make it all about him.
Mhm.
He did this. This is why. And I didn't do anything wrong. I was doing everything right. I was the perfect wife. I was the perfect mom. I. And it's so easy to make it about other people. And really early on, one of my other really good friends came over, and she and we had gone to Esther Hicks a few times. So we're very into, like all of
We
that.
love Abraham. Yep.
Yep, exactly. And she's like, "So, what in you is attracting this?" And I'm just like, "Shut up." You know what I
Right?
mean? Nothing, nothing
The,
is
the
doing this.
normal response. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And yet, still, that was where I sat with my belief. And I appreciated her asking that.
Yeah.
And it took a lot because I had to go through those layers of ego. But what I really came to realize is all of the ways I had been betraying myself in service of being the perfect wife, being the perfect mom. I would honestly, on weekends. So, what's going on this week? What do you have going on? What do you have going on? You know how the weekends go.
Yeah.
So, you're like laying out the week. I would put everybody's schedule on the books and I would fit myself in the cracks.
Yeah.
Okay, soccer games for here, music lessons here. You've got a work trip for there. I would never even rise up. Like, I would never say first, I'm going to do this first. I've got clients here. I want a friend here. It was everybody else first and where I would fit in.
Yeah.
And that was just the way that I lived my life. And it was such a self betrayal because I had needs, but I wouldn't talk about my needs. I had wants, but I wouldn't talk about my wants. I put myself in a place of service. And now there are ways that I want to put myself in a place of service. But here's the kicker. I would feel like a martyr. I would be disappointed. Oh, nobody liked that. Nobody noticed that. I do all these things. I put myself in a martyr role. I neglected myself by never speaking up, by never prioritizing myself.
Yeah. And I
And that was the energy, just the energy that I put out.
exactly, because like if your energy's low, you're a martyr. But if it's high, you're in great service to humanity. So
Yes.
it's not like Mike and I talk about prior to waking up, you're chopping wood and gathering water, and after you wake up, you're still chopping
Still
wood and
doing it.
gathering water. It's just the gathering water and chopping wood has such a more essence to it. Because it's not
Hmm.
like people like, because we are here to service other people. But
Yes.
lower level, it's like we become a martyr and it's beating the shit out of us. And
Mhm.
we have to
Yeah.
learn to get these higher levels of understanding. And we do that all of a sudden, like, man, by getting to a higher level, I'm already taking care of myself. Now I have the energy to take and serve other people.
Yeah.
Love that you
Yeah.
say it that way, because some people just like F it, F the world. I'm like, no, you can't do that either.
No,
And
no. And it's
yeah,
just the energy. Like I have this memory of being at a dinner and we were at a dinner out and we were kind of in a fight. And I have this thought pattern because it all starts with your thoughts. I'm like, ooh, people will see that he's being a jerk. People will see that and they'll feel sorry for me. and then like analyzing it, what? And I want people feeling sorry for me because my husband's being a jerk. Like, where did that even come from? Because that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And yet, subtly, that was that energy pattern that was replaying in me.
Yeah.
And I hadn't noticed that until afterwards. Why was I giving my power away? Why wasn't I creating a better evening? Why wasn't I even saying something or doing something different? Why would I sit there in that energy?
Yeah. And
I love how vulnerable you are, and like the way you describe this is so powerful for so many people, because this is what a lot of individuals are feeling, what
yeah.
exactly what you're saying, and it's
Yeah,
courage to say it like so real how you're saying it. So thank you.
you're welcome. Because I didn't see it for so long. I just thought that it was normal, that it was just life.
But I
And
think
it,
there's a lot of expectation over the years. It's obviously changing. We could see it, where women were meant to be play that role in that particular way.
yeah,
Like all the TV shows I grew up on,
Yeah.
Fathers Knows Best, and it was like, the guy's out there doing the thing, and the wife says something, and he's like, "Hey, to the moon, Alice," and like, but when you actually listen to it, if you actually go back and listen to those shows now, the female had a lot of great things to say, but the man always discarded it as humor. Like there was always
hmm
a laugh track in there. And so over time, it's like we've actually bred this into, and it's not good for men either. It's not good for the masculine either. And all of a sudden, now we're picking up the pieces and waking up and we're like, wait a minute, this is backwards,
Yep.
you know.
yeah,
And obviously, you out there talking about this coming from, and you're a lawyer for the love of God. It's not like you're
right,
someone who doesn't like to argue,
Yeah, right.
right.
or can win an argument. It's like,
That's your job.
but still, it was somehow in this situation, like you, like you were told to do this, and it's better, and it's like, no, no, it's not.
But
hmm
also on the same front, like you're a corporate lawyer, very successful, perfect life, perfect marriage, kids, all the above. These types of examples are what allow people to be like, oh my God, you know, how could that happen to the perfect life, the perfect person,
Right.
this? So that's why your story is so powerful, and why I know so many can relate to it. Um, it's one of a kind. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And you know what people say to me all the time when I talk about infidelity, they'll say, "Oh, I have a great relationship with my husband." And I always want to say, or my wife. And I always want to say, "Do you think I didn't?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We had I thought we were best friends. We were intimate. We had fun. We laughed. Like it's not like I struggled for 23 years in this horrendous marriage. That's the kicker with betrayal.
yeah,
It blindsides you. That's why it's betrayal. If you're in a bad marriage and they cheat, it's not as big of a devastation. We had a great time.
yeah.
That's why it's so bad.
And when people say that, it's they don't want to face that. They don't like because like if you mention that to a woman, she's like, "Huh, I wonder if my husband is cheating on me." Now
Right.
she's looking deeper into it, and and if she is, or he is, or whatever, they could start looking at. But when they say, "Oh, we have a great marriage," I'm like, all you're doing is you're looking the other way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
weird, like because it wasn't even a ponder. The person's like, "Oh, we have a great marriage." I'm
Mhm.
like,
Right.
the only way you have a great marriage is every day you think you don't have a great marriage and you're working at it. I've learned that with my wife. And she's a stickler, man. I
Mm.
tell you what. Like I came home from work one day and walked in the door and she's always in a good mood unless I piss her off. And I walk in the door and she's like, "How was your day?" And I was like, it was in my head. And I'm like, "Yeah, it was okay," like that. And she's like, "What's wrong?" And I automatically want to tell her, "What do you mean, what's wrong? Like, don't you know I worked 10 hours saying I didn't. I've learned. I walked out into the garage and they reopened the door. I'm like, "Hello, darling." And then she started laughing. She's like, "That's it." And so I realized every time I walk through that door, I'm stepping on stage, but this isn't an act. This is the energy I want to be in. This is the
hmm
role I want. And she reminds me of that. And it's because of her, this is happening, part of
Right.
it. And she gives me the cue. She's like the director in the movie, and because the feminine is the director, and then the action goes off. And I realized that having her in that facet changed my life.
hmm
Now I'm finally listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you said that because we do create our own reality. So
Yeah.
if I'm creating my reality with, or if I'm creating my reality with, I'm here to connect, I'm
Yeah.
here to be authentic, I'm here to open it up. And that was that other shift that I went through too. Somehow I created this. If I created it, it's for my own growth and well-being.
Yeah.
And even if I didn't, I can either continue to tell the story of how bad it was, and I can be a bitter old lady, and that does not sound fun. Or I can shift that narrative. I can create my own narrative. I can find something that works for me, and I can have a really fun rest of my life with or without him. I want to have a good life.
Yeah. And that's great. And because of that understanding, the marriage gets stronger because everyone has to come. Like a great actor will make another actor really good.
Yes.
If they can't keep up, they step off the stage. That's what we're doing. You don't want to dumb down your acting to keep the other role going because it doesn't work for anyone. You want to get that other actor to get to a higher level. If they can't take it, so fine. Exit left and bring somebody else on.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
when you're dealing with, this is the question I want to ask, because this is like everyone's listening, like they're shaking head, yes. How do you get your clients from the place? Because when you learn this, what you're doing is I say I wrote a book, and I'm just saying as a narrative. I wrote a
Yeah.
book of my 20 years experience, and it took somebody 2 hours or 2 days to read. How do you get that person to get off the ground quicker, like that client, to where you are right now? Because that's the goal. It's like, like, hey, you have to go through everything I went through. Like, you're going to show them little doors, as trap doors or locked doors to get in there. So, what is a roundabout way? I know you can't get really specific, but like, what are kind of modalities you help people out with to kind of see they can get off the floor quicker than you had?
Yeah. And I love that question. And you're right. There's like so many different things. Um, I'm going to start with modalities. First of all, I don't just do like talk therapy. I'm a somatic attachment therapist. The body keeps the score. You know, that book, it's in the body. When we flow our bodies, we can heal so much more quickly. So we use breath, we use dance, we use shaking, we use movement, we use tapping. Like we get into the body. And that can include feeling, crying, making noises, because we want to. I love that you use performance because my book, I use the analogy of burlesque.
Mhm.
And that life is a burlesque routine, and it's all about stripping down. And you strip down the layers to reveal what is there, not what you want to be there,
Yeah.
but what is there. And like in the analogy of the burlesque, we want to get down to the corset because the corset keeps us looking good.
Yeah.
But the gold happens when you can get that corset off and you can see stretch marks, soft belly, extra fat, whatever it is. So that's that layer and that's that analogy. So I love that you were using the acting stuff too. But that's where it's going to go quicker when we get to the body, when we can find the softness, when we can reveal, feel, that's when we heal, is when we reveal.
Yeah. Love it. Because that's really what it is you're actually showing people how to regulate their nervous system.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Because that's really what it is people like these thoughts go on in your head in this story. And like whenever I'm working with someone, they start like, how was your, I'm like, okay, before you tell me a story, let's do a 2 minute breath work right now. And they get,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, how's that story going? I'm like, oh, okay, I could change the narrative now.
Mhm.
Because the
Yeah.
nervous system is building up. Because a lot of times when people waiting to talk to me, they're building up. I'm like, I got to discharge that buildup. And
Hmm.
it's real, so people can do that themselves. Wake up in the morning and discharge whatever nightmare you had. Oh.
Yes.
And before you go to
Yes.
bed, discharge whatever crazy client or day you had and discharge it. And all of a sudden, over time, you're not really holding a charge. It's,
Right.
yeah, it's
Right.
a lot easier. You might get a little bit, it's so much easier to come back to center. It's like, the better I play my instrument, the least tuning I have to do with it.
Hmm.
That's it.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. And I like working with the polarities, like that inner. I go into my body, so I'm very micro. But then I also zoom out very macro, the spiritual level. What is the soul's path? What are you contributing not only to the betterment of your own soul, but what are you contributing to the collective unconscious through the learning? If
Yeah.
you were learning on behalf of the masses, what would you do here? What is that higher level of responsibility that you have to the collection, to oneness, to multidimensionality? And when we can go in to the body and then out to the spirit, instead of getting stuck in all this in-betweeny stuff, it helps us bridge that gap. And then we have hope, and then we have healing.
Yeah. And that's
I
when
love
we,
that.
yeah, that's because a lot of times people try to separate the spiritual world from the corporeal physical world. You can't, they're to marry. Just like the
Right.
left hemisphere of brain can't be shut out just to activate the right. They have to be married semi-sync.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's a dance because that's the thing about dance. The thing about dance, it creates this flow of back and forth.
Yeah.
We start to do that, all of a sudden we're living, it's almost like in the Bible, Jesus said, you're in this world, but not of it.
Yeah.
But you're not of this world, but you're in it for love of God. Play with it. Like when you turn
Yeah.
around and change the emphasis on it, you're just giving a whole new light to it. It's like, yeah, I'm not of this world, but I'm here. I'm on stage. Play the act as best you can. Get a little more life into it. How do you do
Hmm.
that? Take the weight of, I did something wrong of.
Yeah.
And if you did something wrong, just okay, where was I when I did that? What was I searching for? Oh,
Hmm. And the whole concept of right or wrong
mm,
really is a judgment call.
yeah,
Right or wrong for who? Because sometimes the worst thing can be the catalyst for the greatest growth.
yeah,
So, was it worth it?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, uh, try not to hurt people. You know what I mean? Like, try to be good, yes. And it's that acceptance of I'm playing with the spectrum.
yeah,
I've got the whole spectrum and I'm here to experience all of this. And what it's only evil. What I tell my people a lot is the tragedy of betrayal is not the betrayal itself. The tragedy of betrayal is in your failure in not rising up and using it for all that you can.
yeah.
That's the
Right.
tragedy.
That is, it's not the circumstances. How do I sit back and allow this to unfold and then see the miracle come before me to where I could step out of it? Because I'm like joking around, but your husband's like, "Hey, you're successful thanks to me," you
Yep.
know.
Right,
Like,
right, right,
yeah,
right.
but yeah, I love that. I love that you said it that way because I think people are trying to find it. They think there's a direct route to everything. It's like, the way you got there is going to be different than somebody else. So you're actually giving their own GPS rather
Yeah.
than giving them a map with the red line that got you there. I'm like, yeah, but they didn't start where you were.
Mhm.
Like my
Hmm.
buddy could tell me I get to San Diego, but he lives nowhere near me, and I'm not gonna be like, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not going to help.
No. And the more we rise up and let go, our GPS actually kicks in. And it is, it's a mechanism in our brain. It's called the pineal gland. We start
Yes.
activating the pineal gland, we'll know what to do without any external information. Now we're actually in the right hemisphere of the brain, and all of a sudden we become more intuitive. We're dancing with life rather than creating this choreography where it has to be this way. No, I just want to
Hmm.
show up and dance. I don't have to
Yeah.
practice it. I want to be able to dance with life. Because if somebody shows up not the way I thought, I'm like, oh, stop the music. What's going on here?
Panic, panic.
Yeah, like I can't do this dance. Just dance. And it's
Hmm.
amazing. Yeah.
They call
Yeah.
that in multiple or different languages have names for it. There's a time to act, there's a time to stop, wu wei,
Yeah.
all of these different phrases. It's about this flow. And we
Hmm.
have been taught pretty backwards, if you will, that like everything works a certain way. There's a right, there's a wrong, there's a black, there's a white. That's how we were taught going through the Western school system. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Everything is a broad stroke of gray, and so
Yeah.
it's learning to to trust oneself. We have been taught
Yes.
our entire lives not to trust ourselves and verify everything outside of us by the expert. These experts
Yes.
outside of us have to tell us how we feel and how we think. And if we're not told it, just something we naturally come to, well, that can't be correct because you're not an expert in this field. And
Yeah.
so it's coming back to oneself is really what it is, and learning this flow.
Absolutely. It is. It is 100% coming back to yourself. Who am I? What do I want? How do I feel? Like we are so afraid to feel what we want. We are so afraid to make a mistake. All of life's an experiment.
Mhm.
Keep experimenting. Keep creating something new. If you don't like it, do it differently next time. It's truly okay. And that level of acceptance is hard because you're right. We have just been conditioned, right, wrong, good, bad, do this, not that. And
Yeah.
we're so all powerful.
Ah, yes.
We
Yeah.
are so all powerful. And that can be crazy too, because then we're afraid of creating something bad or creating something wrong instead of like, create it. That's fine. We'll switch it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because one of the things that like when I really woke up to this stuff and really where it ignited me is realize we're never going to be complete. There's going to be a
Right.
moment on this plane where this corporeal body is gone, but the energy that's in it, it's like because my toaster breaks, my electricity in my house still works. So the focus is really on that. So we're always incomplete. So keep going. And you're just going to
Hmm.
add on to it. You're not really doing anything wrong, like I like to say, but you're thinking you're doing something wrong. Because the only thing you think you're doing something wrong is like, this should be complete and done by now. I should be done learning. I'm like, no, quite the
Doesn't work
opposite.
like that.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right. Like I remember someone told me they read 3,000 books. I'm like, well, it's a lot of books, but how many books are in the world?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you've hardly read any books. So they understand this person was very well read, but they were so well read they understood the the point I was trying to make. The more you know, the more you realize I know very little, and knowing very little is what makes me childlike again and want to go out there and explore. And I
Yeah.
wake up every day excited, unless I think I know too much.
Yeah.
And it's like,
No, it's that excitement. I love that you said I wake up every day excited because that's where it is for me. I want to wake up feeling good.
yeah,
I want to go to bed feeling satisfied.
yeah,
I want to have that constant sense of curiosity. And it's not to say that we won't have some bad days or some bad moments, but realizing that it's all part of the whole and that it doesn't mean anything. Like that's something that I talk to my clients about. You said, how do I shift? One of the ways I shift is constantly asking them, like, what does that mean?
mm,
Because you get to provide the meaning. So if my husband cheating means I am ugly and worthless and blah, 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 that's the meaning that I assign to it. It doesn't inherently mean that.
yeah,
Right.
What the meaning I choose to assign to it is it means he had unaddressed trauma. It didn't mean anything about me. It means I now have the opportunity to step into my power and my awareness in a new and different way. I get to choose the meaning of every experience in my life.
yeah.
You get to choose the meaning of every experience in your life. So be very clear and careful what meaning you're assigning to it.
Yeah, because when you choose
Absolutely.
what we call a positive meaning, you're actually elevating the energy on this planet in this universe. It's so you're
Yes.
actually not just doing your own good, you're doing everyone else good. And it goes directly to your immediate family and it keeps going into your neighborhood. It's amazing. Like even like I was driving up after the gym this morning, getting ready for the podcast, and I saw my neighbor come out. His head was down, waving at him. And like I don't know what was going through his head. He might have dropped something for all I know, but I could tell he wasn't in a good mood. I'm like, oh, hopefully my podcast hits him today,
Yeah, right.
because
Yeah.
we have no idea the effect that this high level of energy will do for the world, but we know it has a greater effect than none. So it's
Yes.
almost like it's my job and duty to stay at this level. I see it in my wife, I see it in my child, I see it in my friends. Where else is it happening? Because I think about like when I woke up and something happened, there might have been someone in my neighborhood meditating. I don't know
Hmm.
why I woke up. Like, oh, you did the work. I'm like, why did I want to read that book? Why did I want to go to that workshop? It wasn't me. It was a field I stepped into and somebody created or a group of people created. So therefore, we have to give back, and that's a service. Like this podcast here, even if people do not listen to it, the energy's already out there.
Yeah.
It's already
Yeah.
beacon. Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
And yeah.
One of the things that I teach my clients to say, and I'd love to share it here,
please.
is when you wake up and you're in a bad mood, or you see a news article and you're going to go down the political trauma rabbit hole, say to yourself, right now, I am choosing to go into fear. Right now, I am choosing to feel bad. And soon I will choose something different
Yeah.
because I sometimes do want to give myself that opportunity to like doom scroll. I am choosing to doom scroll right now, and soon I will choose not to.
Yeah, because you're,
Soon.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
yeah,
It's
your
simple.
subconscious will say, "So how's that working for you?" Or yeah, I should say your conscious mind will say, "How's that working for you?" Because the conscious mind really isn't affected by it. When I have
Right.
bad thoughts, there's something witnessing it. That's, oh, I'm angry, I'm tired, I'm this and that. That in which notices that isn't that. So I want to seat myself with that fella
Mm,
rather than the one that's like, oh, And then I also have my wife saying like, what are you doing?
mhm,
Like, why
Yeah.
are you moping? I don't want a mopey husband.
Yeah.
Well, stop asking me to take the garbage out.
mm.
Right. But then, like that, you could be like, I'm going to choose to be mopey for the next hour and a half. And then after that, I will engage.
Yeah.
Because then that way, too, you're also giving yourself permission to go somewhere to process, because maybe it's something that you want to process. But then that can help you distinguish, is this a habit? Am I in the habit of being mopey? Because sometimes we get in that habit.
Mm.
Or am I just wanting to process something icky right now? And then I will choose something better.
I like the discernment on that because that is true. Because people think they get to this level of understanding it. They might be listening to us say, I'll get to this point where I'll never have any of these emotions. I'm like, that is false. Because the higher
Hmm.
you go up the mountain, you realize you might have to, there's stuff in the backpack that didn't affect you down at the base. But
Yeah.
now all of a sudden I have this belief that's no longer um, serving me. So I have to get rid of it. But don't condemn the belief because I don't condemn the tricycle when I was 6 years old and the bicycle came about because it served me. But at some
Yeah.
point, if I had to carry every modality of driving vehicle I did with me, I'll have my tricycle, the bicycle.
Scooter.
I got all this shit with me, and now I have to get it all on an airplane because I'm flying now. I'm like, no, you have to let these things go because they served you, but they're no longer serving you. And so that's the moment right now when I get that angst feeling. There's something that once served me. I have to let it go, and this is the moment to say that's what it is. Or it could just be a habit, like you said. I'm like, just gotta get over that one, man. I let go of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I like the discernment because a lot of people get into this work like, why do I still feel this? I'm like, because the higher you go up the mountain, the thinner the air, your body has to acclimate to the oxygen. And if you understand that, the red blood cells will get higher, and all of a sudden you'll be fine. You can keep carrying up the mountain. You don't have to stop climbing. But understanding what happens to the body is just sit there on a log, and next thing you know, take a couple deep breaths in.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm acclimated. I'm going to go up higher rather than running down the mountain and say, this shit doesn't work.
Yeah.
It works brilliantly, but it's now you understand what the acclimation or the pain is, whatever. It's something that it's kind of like if I eat something bad, thank God my body throws it up so I don't get really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get rid of it. That's the
Yeah.
discomfort. But I know, hey, if I get rid of this, I'll be able to eat some more food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like that, sometimes maybe you want to come down the mountain for a while and ride around on your tricycle because it's fun. And then
Oh,
you've satisfied that urge and now you've moved on.
yeah, exactly. And then you go
It's
back
all
and
good.
yeah, and then you start to see the whole thing as from standing, like you mentioned, coming out further and then going into the macro, then going into the micro.
You see it from above.
That's the game. So yeah, I want to read the script. Now I have to go into the micro in order to play the role, but then I have to step back and, hey, director, how's it going? Like, okay, because the director is the macro. It sees everything,
Yeah.
but I'm just the actor. I'm like, I can get lost in it. But if hey,
Right.
just trust the director.
It's learning that you're all of
Yeah,
the above.
yeah,
Exactly.
That's what's so fun about this whole experience.
Hmm.
Yes, things are going to happen. Yes, things are going to feel weird. Yes, things are going to feel awkward. But how we choose to frame that, how we choose to move forward, that in its essence is who you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And when you've been handed it, what are you going to do with it? Because you got to choose. I am going to use this to destroy myself, or I'm going to use this to elevate myself. What are you going to do with it? We can all do different things.
yeah,
And that's it.
yeah.
Exactly. What are you going to do with it? I've got to ask you a question. When I was looking at your, content online, when I was reading your website, you mentioned that you are also a channel. Do you
I
channel
am.
similar to like Abraham and Esther?
I channel a group of entities that call themselves the librarians.
I love
Oh,
that.
And yeah, they are in the Akashic realm. What they've told me is in the Akashic realm, like in the Akashic records, we all have our own soul's records. So it is me and my soul and all my experiences, you and your soul and all your experiences. The librarians sit above that. And what they do is like index and cross reference around lessons. So if there's the wound of abandonment, betrayal, judgment, so it is the collective wisdom that all souls have learned around that wound, that experience. So, what they tell me is as a collective, as a multidimensional whole, we can move lessons through our collective consciousness. We can all decide as a collection of souls that we will no longer do war, that we will no longer do judgment, that we will no longer do abandonment. And when we have all learned and all the work that everybody has done, we can move that out of the field.
Yeah.
See, that's
I love
powerful.
that.
Yeah, that I was just fascinated by that because we've covered Abraham on this show several times. Bashar, we love the
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah.
Frank and I went to, but we saw Bashar last year in September in
Yeah.
Sedona.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
it's beautiful watching people, be able to use that gift channel and share that information. Um, and it's awesome because we're now there is a different energy in the air. No one could deny this.
Oh,
We
yeah.
are stepping into this age of Aquarius. People are thirsting for authenticity like we have never seen. This is why politicians are falling apart. Movie stars, no people could care less about. We're like, oh, all right, we get it. The show, cool, and
Yeah.
they're just trying to add more fuel to the flame. How bigger of a show can we make this? And everybody's like, yeah, we get it. You guys are all full of shit. And
Hmm.
it's awesome because this is a new time and,
Yes.
and everybody's feeling it. And this is why, like your Flaunt podcast, this podcast, people are thirsting for this information. And they're like, I want to hear real people talk about real things. I'm tired of this
Right.
cookie cutter bullshit of, hell, plastic, this is how the world is.
Yeah.
This is who I am. And showing you, just this very split second reptilian version of themselves that, hey, this is who I am, look over here, don't look over here.
Yeah. I will send you the link. I just did yesterday because it was, the first of the month. I just did my energy update for November.
Cool.
Wow, it was a bizarre one. Like I fought the channel I had to actually stop and re-record it because I kept fighting the channel. And then when I finally did let it in, it was a really good one. But it was like that. It was the concept of expansion and how we're seeing so much stuff that we don't like in air quotes right now because we're expanding. And when we expand, the circle expands at like that same radius. We don't just expand higher, we also expand and start seeing things that we don't want to see, that we're just la la la, I can't hear you. So, like that, when so much is coming up right now, it's because we're expanding. And how can we be in a state of gratitude? Oh, yay, governments are falling apart, people are falling apart. It's because it's expanding.
Yeah. And they're
Well
about,
said.
yeah, because as we go to higher levels, and again, there's no way to prove this, but concepts of governments will turn into more council.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like, do we really need people governing us who are at a higher level? Because everyone
right.
answers I remember I posed this question to people like 15, 20 years ago, just to strike up a conversation. They talk about government. I'm like, do you need someone governing you? They're like, no, I don't.
Mm.
My
But
neighbor
everybody else
does.
does.
But my neighbor does. you know, and it's funny. So like, why do you think you like? I guess if I asked your neighbor or whatever, they would feel the same. Everyone thinks somebody else needs to govern, and then we go to these people, and we hold such high,
Regard.
and they really don't know. They don't know what they're doing.
No.
Like if somebody was in a government position and actually just walked into something and actually said like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do my best to elevate my energy." Do you think people would vote for that person? Maybe now they probably would.
Right.
Back then, it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, none of them know what they're doing.
Nobody does.
Of course they didn't. So you voted for him. They're like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, of course they don't. Who does?
All
Because
just
we've
a
never
show.
been here.
Yeah.
We've never been here. You cannot eat yesterday's sandwich to satisfy today's hunger. So
No.
people, what do we do with that? I'm like, when you actually enter into the right side of the brain, like what you're doing with the energy, you activate the right side of the brain. This is where Einstein came with equal to MC squared. This is like the technology that you and I are on right now with Mike and watching this stuff. Somebody imagined it. My
Yes.
God, how did this come about? They
Yeah.
imagined it. Now it came from the right side of the brain. So the more the right side of the brain we get into, no one's going to want to ever fight. So
Right.
work you're doing is tremendous because there are people that are sick and tired of it, but you can show them the well and where it's at, and they'll know how to drink the water. Just like every child doesn't need to find their mouth. They know where their mouth is.
They
You
can
just
do
want
it.
to make sure it's actual food you're giving them, like it doesn't harm them. But a kid doesn't go like this, then test it out and eventually find it. They know where the mouth is, but what food are we giving them?
Hmm.
And this is you're giving the food, the water, and they're drinking it. And
Yeah.
there's more people out there that are going to have to be like you to do it. Like if 75% of people in this, or 70% of people in this situation, we need a lot of light workers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people are like, oh my God. I'm like, no, there's not enough of us. I'm like,
Right.
get on board, start going within, and you'll find your own niche to get people. You will, because everyone is needed hands on deck right now for this
Hmm.
work. This is why Mike and I do this podcast,
Yeah.
because somewhere along the line, people are like, yeah, they're searching for it, they're thirsty for it, but they don't believe there's a well out there. I'm like, there is.
Hmm.
If it wasn't, you
Hmm.
wouldn't be thirsty.
Yeah. And I like how you use the example too of like climbing up the mountain and then people saying it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because we're also have been conditioned, we're in this take a pill for it society, instant gratification society. And you do have to do the work and you do have to fall down a few times and you do have to sometimes struggle to the next level, but struggling doesn't mean stop.
No.
An example I love to give is how many times have you driven home from work or from somebody's house and there's like a rain delay or there's a snowstorm or there's construction or there's a traffic accident. How many times when you've been delayed do you get out of your car, abandon your car on the side of the road and never make it home again? Like
Yeah.
zero, zero times.
Happen.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
True.
abandon your car and never go home again because there was a delay and there was construction and there was bad weather?
Yep.
That's a
So why in your spiritual quest for enlightenment do you be like, oh, it's not meant to be?
That's a great point. That's a great analogy of the way you vision, because no
it
one's
is.
ever done that.
No,
Yeah. The
never.
traffic goes away. The plow finally comes for the snow, and then you make it home. You might talk about it when you get home. Like, why were you late?
Right.
Oh, well, I'll tell you why I was late. I remember showing up a little late because I got distracted at work. And my wife was like, "What happened?" And I told her, it's like, and she was a little upset. And I'm like, "So if I was driving on the freeway and there was a shootout and the cops came and had to shut down, it's like, but there wasn't a shootout." I'm like, I tried. She's like, "It doesn't work that way." I'm like,
Right.
"Sorry."
Right.
That is a way though for people to get, easy way for them to wrap their head around the concept, and give them that boost of courage, gusto, whatever you want to call it, to keep on going. Like you're right. That when you look at it like that, that's absurd.
It
Of
is
course no
absurd.
one would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the more we can normalize, this type of attitude, this go get, you can do it. The more we're raising that or creating that space for others to join us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it goes back to that meaning too. Like how many people are like, it's just not meant to be. This just isn't meant to be my life. Like you wouldn't say that driving home. You would never say, I'm just not meant to get home and like really mean it.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't.
You know, just like an hour of talking to you, I love your energy from the get-go. But it's funny because a lot of people like they're gonna listen to this, they're gonna hear the story. I'm like, how could she be all energetic like this and talk about what happened? I'm like, but you're giving an example because you're not faking it. I can tell you're not
No.
faking it. 'Cause I've talked to people that are faking, like, hey, how's it going? They're like they're ready to blow up and stuff.
Mhm.
And I don't call them on it because it's their own journey. But with you, I could tell there's no faking here. Your life seems to be really good, expanding and going in different directions or whatever like that. But you're a testament to this.
You're living
Yeah,
that.
you're living proof that you can get happy again under extraordinary circumstances. Most people, it's just like, it's like I have to lose a couple of pounds. I'm like, Well, you found out your husband's cheating on you for the last 15 years. So I'm like,
Right.
I can easily get you to lose 15
Or
pounds.
even just like work related.
Yeah.
There's something more that cuts
Yeah.
different. And that's why your story is so powerful, and why I know those listening right now, I I know they can relate to it. Everybody has someone that has experienced this in some capacity, through their family, through their friends, all the above.
Hmm.
But the genuine aspect that you bring to the table, this high level of clarity, and then most importantly the living it, that's what is so powerful. And you are truly like a beacon of light. And that's what Frank and I always
Yeah.
talk about, which is we have to be those beacons.
Yeah.
We have to allow people, sure, bring your stories, let me hear every last one of the tales you tell yourself every single day, but we're going to stay here. you know
Yeah.
we're going, sure, get it out, allow it to come out, but here we're going to stay here, because there is no point ever in going down into the mud and wrestling. We've been there, we've done that. It doesn't work. We did it
Nope.
for decades. We're wrapping our heads, every single day saying, why am I depressed, why doesn't this work? Get out of the mud. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this has just been an awesome conversation with you, Laura, and our audience that we can't wait to share this episode with. I know our audience is going to want to be able to get more information from you. Can you tell us where they can, where's the best place to connect with you,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
follow you online and things like that? Can you share a little on that?
Yeah, I'm on all social media at Lora Cheadle. Laura is Lora. It's spelled a little bit differently.
Okay.
My website is lauracheadle.com.
Perfect.
But if they're also going through some betrayal, I've got a free betrayal recovery guide at betrayalrecoveryguide.com. And it's got some somatic work, it's got some energetic work, it's got some hypnosis. So it's got some of those body-based tools. And it doesn't matter what kind of betrayal they're going through. It could be an infidelity, but it could also just be like, I feel betrayed by my own body, or I feel betrayed by somebody at work. The tools will help you feel better no matter what you're feeling.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when you start working these tools, people are like, how long should I get the effect? I'm like, it's like when you eat food, how long does it take you to be satisfied? It's not that long. It's like if you're doing something, you have to wait 2 years. It's like you're doing the wrong thing.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, like you should feel it right away when you take a deep breath or shake it off. And then like,
Yeah.
oh, good. So keep on doing it every day. And then
Yeah.
over time, you're just gonna have nuances. You're gonna do it slightly different. Your dance is gonna develop, but just do it. And people just want to talk about it. I'm like, no, no, it's time to
Got to
do it.
do it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like the somatic processing dance that I've got, it's like 3 minutes.
yeah,
Do it, but make it up as you go. Do something different next time. Tune into your body. How do you feel? Have fun. Enjoy it.
yeah. Just like kids at the playground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
Love
that
it.
so much.
yeah,
Laura, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Perspective Shift. This has been extremely eye opening and such a great story to share. We can't wait to get more from you. We can't wait to hear more from you. I know the same for those listening in. So we'll be in touch. We'll be reaching out, and
yeah,
hopefully we can have you back on, because we have so much more to talk about. We've just scratched the surface with
yeah.
you.
We do. Thank you both so much for having me. It was an honor.
All right, much
Absolutely,
love.
Laura.
All right,
Take care.
all right, bye.
See you soon.
Bye.